If people could please take their seats, I think we're ready to begin with the program. Good evening. I'm Lisa Peterson. I'm the Deputy City Manager for the City of Cambridge, and it really is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 2017 State of the City Address. If you could please rise and join Isaiah Robinson, a junior at CRLS and a heroic young man who saved 3 children during this December 3rd fire, as he leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Isaiah. And if you could please, before you sit down, if you could please remain standing. I should have said that. Please remain standing as Amber Kinner, a vocalist studying at Berklee College of Music, sings the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, Amber. I am now going to ask Reverend Irene Monroe, a theologian, speaker, activist, and syndicated columnist, to deliver the invocation.
Good evening. Tonight, we gather to affirm the greatness and service of our world city, Cambridge, our mayor, and all our elected officials. We give thanks for a city that encourages us to participate in the political process, ensuring us that our lives and concerns matter. With this new presidency, we are called to reaffirm our values as the People's Republic of Cambridge and to hold them against a hard and present-day reality, and to see how we measure up to our legacy, our history of good and fair and inclusive governance that provides a promising today as well as a promising future. We have more work to do, which brings us here to this chamber. We stand at the crossroads, but we will make the right choices. We will meet the challenges. We will fight until hell freezes over, and then we will fight on the ice, knowing that the arch of the moral universe is bent toward justice, and we accept the challenges before us, we will make happen tremendous and transforming possibilities for us all. We must not become discouraged, lose our vision or our hope. We will continue to be the change agents that we are because in the face of our own self-respect, we love our city and we love our country. We ask that the spirit of us working together teaches us that now is the accepted time to do the work. Today is the seed time, now are the hours of work, and come 2018, we will have created a better outcome for us all. As we approach this work ahead, let us execute a consensus purpose. Let us be united in this journey. Let us speak in harmony of a common goal. Common be our prayer. Common be our resolution. And common be our intentions. Can you say amen? Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Monroe. Tonight marks the first time that the mayor and city manager are coming together to deliver a joint State of the City address. And before we start, I do want to recognize there's a number of people that are here today and a number of elected officials that I really want to recognize, starting with our Vice Mayor, Mark McGovern, City Councilor Dennis Carlone, City Councilor Jan Devereaux, City Councilor Leland Chung, the City Councilor Nadeem Mazen was here for a little bit but needed to leave. And I want to thank everybody for coming. In terms of school committee members, we have Emily Dexter, Richard Harding, Kathleen Kelly, Patricia Nolan, and Fred Fantini that have all joined us today. So I want to recognize them. In addition, we have a former vice mayor, say Dennis Benzan has joined us, and former mayor Anthony Galluccio. In terms of our state delegation, we're also a House delegation and Senate delegation. We're really also joined by a number of people tonight. Reverend Marjorie Decker, Representative, excuse me, maybe she'll be a reverend. I'm prophecy, right? Representative Jay Livingstone, Representative Dave Rogers, and Representative Mike Conley are joined us tonight. And from the Senate, Senator Sal Domenico and Senator Joseph Bonclore. Did I say his name wrong? I'm sorry. So we want to thank everybody for being here. And there's a lot of city staff here today, but I have to give a huge recognition because we're joined by our former city manager, Rich Rossi, tonight. So welcome, Rich. So Mayor E. Denise Simmons is a lifelong resident of Cambridge and is currently serving her 8th term on the Cambridge City Council and her 2nd term as mayor of Cambridge. City Manager Louis A. DePasquale has worked for the City of Cambridge for the past 42 years and was sworn in as City Manager this past November. It is my pleasure to introduce Mayor E. Denise Simmons.
I don't know if anyone introduced the young woman that was moderating, and that is our Deputy City Manager, Lisa Peterson, and thank you. Reverend Irene, I want to thank you for those words of wisdom, those prayer, that war chant, because we may be fighting on the ice. I think that wonderful rendition of the Star Spangled Banner by Amber, and let's thank Amber and her accompanist again. And one of the phrases goes, that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free. We may have to repeat that a few times. And the home of the brave. If there's nothing else that we will need to know or remember when we walk from here, is that we're going to have to be brave. We're going to have to be resolute. We're going to have to dig deep down and hold on, because as I said to my spouse, my wife, I said, girl, hold on to your seatbelt, it's going to be a bumpy ride. And that's certainly true. But before I go into my remarks, I have to pause, because although we are here in a very good city, I want to say a great city, and my vice mayor was supposed to remind me, I usually say good evening and you say, see, people have been around. So for those of you that don't know it, I say good evening and you use your outside voices to say great evening. So good evening. Great evening. And it is a great evening, but there is some sadness upon us. And I would just ask if each of you would join me in a moment of silence for a great woman, sister, and friend who recently died, Renee Gray. She lived in Cambridge for over 30-something years. She gave her heart and her soul to this city. So in her memory, if we can just pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. I want to thank all of you for being here and joining us tonight for our 2017 Cambridge State of the City address. As our Deputy City Manager mentioned, Mr. DePasquale he's not new, but he's our new city manager. And I said, Louis, what can we do that's different? You know, this is a real transition. This is new. How do we make some demonstration of that? And I said, well, how about we do the State of the City? And he said, yes, resounding yes. And I just want to say thank you. And when I ask for more money in the budget, I want to say yes about that too. You know, this is that time of year when you've come to expect from your governors, your mayors, your president, time set aside, an evening, to provide an update about and on our community, how it's faring, taking stock of the year that was and the year that is to come. And it's true that the city has not customarily held this State of the City addresses, but we're living in a time where customs are being reassessed. Against a national backdrop of great uncertainty and upheaval, where there's anger and anxiety, when we look back on the last year's election, which was bitter and contentious, and now we're slowly coming out of that fog as our new president settles into office. Communities like ours are going to be set with new challenges and the urgent need to develop new strategies for navigating this unfamiliar terrain. Certainly, just the opening 2 weeks of the administration has been seemingly targeting progressive communities like Cambridge, threatening penalties if we don't comply with the view of the president's misguided and un-American directives. Tonight, we're going to take a few moments to address how Cambridge is going to adjust to that reality and how we will speak to how, through legal and legislative messages and measures, how we will through our outright defiance, when necessary, we will continue to adhere to the ideals that have long made Cambridge a nation and a beacon of tolerance, diversity, inclusivity, and hope. Despite the uncertainties of the national backdrop, there are reasons to be hopeful and even optimistic. In these opening weeks of 2017, I am certain that most of you are aware that last November, longtime Finance Director Louis DePasquale took his seat as our new city manager. Just the third individual to hold this role in the past 35 years. And Cambridge has been unquestionably benefited from the guidance and professionalism of Mr. DePasquale and his immediate predecessors, Mr. Rossi, being here with us this evening. Each of these individuals have made their own mark, left their own imprimatur on the city of Cambridge. And such has already been the case in Mr. Louis DePasquale, a dynamic individual who's brought a fresh sense of optimism, enthusiasm, collaboration, and passion into the role of municipal government's chief executive officer. Already in just these 3 months that I know has felt like to him 3 years, our collaborative work relationship has yielded some really terrific results, some of which Mr. DePasquale will be touching on this evening. But before I go to the year ahead, I like to glance back on some of the work that we've engaged in the first half of 2016-17 council term. From our very first meeting in January, the City Council has determined and is determined to get right to work, to establish an immediate method of communication, idea sharing, problem solving. And at that first meeting, I was honored and privileged to once again be selected as the mayor, and I want to thank my colleagues for that honor. And since I had that good fortune of serving in this role once before, I quickly moved to launch, in some cases revive, some important programs and initiatives, and among them are just these few. One is the Safe Streets, Safe Cities program. And that was born out of the recognition that during our summer months, oftentimes some of our neighborhoods are fraught more than others with violence. And to address that, we brought the city council, the city police, our department heads, our youth outreach workers, and our interfaith community, along with business leaders, to look at what we could do to be proactive rather than reactive to stemming the tide of violence in some of our communities. And some of the ways that we are going to address that is looking at how do we employ that tentative age group of 18 to 35. How can we plug them into jobs and make them hopeful and less hopeless? To have a multi-pronged, multi-year address to this, and we will reinstitute and reactivate those conversations this spring so that we'll be ready for the summer, so we can have a peaceful, quiet, fun-filled summer and not have to be going to someone's wake or someone's funeral because of some tragedy. This is what the Safe Streets campaign will be doing this year. In addition, because community engagement has always been important to the city and to me, we have initiated or reinstituted our interfaith breakfast meetings. And each month I get together with the interfaith community to talk with our leaders. Over 100 interfaith leaders come together once a month to talk about some of the humanitarian work that they're doing in their churches and in their interfaith communities, but also looking to us about what we're doing and working together so that we can be a tight net of services so no one in our community falls through that social service net. As you know, our interfaith community works very hard to combat homelessness, feed and clothe the hungry, and really cultivate relationships and put support to those that are less fortunate than us. And it's really a wonderful relationship. We continue to meet and they continue to offer good suggestions about how we can work better together for our community. We also have the Mayor's Senior Advisory Group, and I don't know if we have any of our seniors here. Do we? Yes, we do. Please stand. John Ratliff is one of our senior advisors. Thank you, John. The Mayor's Senior Advisory Group is a group of seniors that it's multi-neighborhood, multicultural. They come each month to talk to me and through me to the City Council about some of the needs, some of the desires, some of the concerns, and some of the good things that happen in Cambridge for the senior community. One of the things that they came together to do was they said, you know, what we don't have, and we've seen in other cities, is a health and wellness fair, a resource fair. And so through their initiative and the support of my staff, we did the first health, wellness, and social service fair for Cambridge seniors. It was a wild success. They're very excited about it, and we'll do it again. This is a way to connect our senior community. We don't often hear from them, and so this is an opportunity for them to come to our wonderful senior center and to use it the way it should be used, but it's also the senior advisory is there to help us know what is going on, what's important, and what are the needs of our senior community. Starting last year, we convened the Minimum Wage Advisory Task Force. This is co-chaired by the Vice Mayor, Mark McGovern, and Councilor Nadine Mazin. And we brought together a cross-section of city leaders, labor leaders, economic advisors, minimum wage activists, business community, of which we have a number of members here today, business owners, and we've been trying to assess how we can most prudently move this forward. How can we bring the minimum wage up to $15 in our city? This group has met numerous times over the past several months, and it is our hope that we'll be able to issue some recommendations to the City Council for further deliberation and consideration in the very near future. Another of our advisory groups is the Women's Pay Equity Advisory Group. Do we have members of the Women's Pay Equity Advisory Group here? And if so, could you stand? Kathleen Kelly, Lisa Peterson, Eva Martin Blythe, Sarah Gallup, Kim Sansusi, and Denise Gilson. Thank you so much for your service. We as experts and advocates have been coming together to advise and work together on how women working for the City of Cambridge can be paid at the same rate and given the same opportunities for advancement as their male counterparts. Bright minds from the Harvard Business School, the Boston Mayor's Office of Women's Advancement, staffers from Congresswoman Catherine Clark's office, and others have been brought together to share best practices and give us guidance on how to ensure that Cambridge is a true leader in pay equity, and that we will be ahead of the curve because this goes into state law July 1st, 2018. So we are being proactive rather than reactive. This term, I'm also very proud to once again partner with the YWCA, and let me put my co-partner in crime on this program, Eva Martin Blythe from the YWCA. Please stand again. She and I, for a number of years, have been convening a young women's group. Thank you, Eva, so much. And it's called GOLD, Girls Only Leadership Development. Now, don't the guys get angry. We're going to come to you. The purpose of this program is to bring 8th grade girls together in advance of their high school years to think about when they go into high school, to think about high school as not an opportunity just to go to college, but as an opportunity to have a career, whether that is being a plumber or a city manager or an elected official. We want to give young women an opportunity to realize all their opportunities because, 4 years, and most of us in this room know, go very quickly. And so we bring these young ladies, 8th graders, and I often say we want 8th graders because while they're still listening to us, together to have an opportunity to learn from other mentors, women mentors. And so a couple of years ago, we had Catherine Clark as our speaker. We had Lisa Peterson as our speaker. We had Representative Decker has supported as part of our advisory group to support these young ladies so that they can find their voice. They can be empowered when they go to high school. So when they graduate, regardless of what they plan to do, they'll hit the ground running and be able to really be successful in their adult life. We're also pleased to say that we applied, or I should say Eva Martin Blythe in the YWCA, through her good efforts, applied for the Be Good Family Foundation, and we were awarded $5,000 this year. So we're really happy about that. The initiatives I just mentioned have drawn upon the passion, the wisdom, and the dedication of dozens of individuals who have been so generous with their time and their expertise. We believe it really has a positive ripple through not only what happens in our schools, but what happens in our city far beyond the city council term. The people who have joined me on these advisory committees have exemplified the very best of what Cambridge has to offer in spirit. A willingness and a desire to reach out and assist our friends, our neighbors, that Cambridge spirit, that Cambridge way. You should get shirts, the Cambridge way. Is evident in everything that we do in our minds, in all of our outreach, and it's very hard to believe that so much is done in such a little time, but it's good work that we do these years. Not so long ago, and it does seem that we had a terrible tragedy in Cambridge, and I'm referring to that massive fire that happened on December 3rd in the Wellington-Harrington neighborhood on York Street, between York Street and Berkshire Streets, and a number of other contiguous streets. Any fire results in the loss of housing. You also lose precious memories, mementos. It is certainly a tragedy. And that was certainly the case for 160 people who were directly impacted by that fire. Yet thankfully, there were no serious injuries or fatalities. And we are so thankful for the tremendous efforts of our fire and police department. Can the members of our fire and police department that are here please stand up? More than 20 communities sent fire crews to help extinguish that fire. And even before the fires had subsided and nightfall had descended, the city manager and I were putting in plans in motion to assist the families that were affected. Within hours, the mayor's fire relief fund would go on to collect nearly $1 million. Within 48 hours, and this is what's so wonderful about our city, within 48 hours, we had converted our city hall into a one-stop fire relief and referral center. This was unprecedented. The weekend after the fire, if you came into City Hall, the hallways were flanked with individuals from over, I would say, 20 or so human service, social service, state services in the hallway. And people just were able to come here and get assistance and know that they would not be by themselves. One exceptional other thing that happened that time, during that period, it was Isaiah Thomas? Okay, the basketball player from the Celtics that lives in Cambridge stepped up and said, I would like to do something for the families. And he hosted a Christmas party for all the families that were affected by the fire. It was really unusual. It was heartwarming. It was wonderful to see these children who had lost everything to be able to have a little bit of Christmas. And there was also pizza and quesadillas. It was just really a wonderful, great time. But what was the most moving of that was one family came up to me and said, it's so good to be here and see my neighbors, to know that they're all right. That was tremendous. And so it was wonderful to know that these families, and particularly these children, would have a little piece of the holidays. And so thank you for the number of people that came to. There's a number of you here, and I can't name you all. So just stand. I want you to know some of the people. Representative, you too. Please stand up so we can just say thank you for all those folks that helped on a daily basis for 2 weeks to help those families. Christine Giacobi, Representative Decker, Louis, Ellen Semenoff, Ryan Kaur. We came in every day as early as 8 o'clock, and some of us didn't leave until after, because the custodian had to say it's time to go. You don't have to go, but you can't stay here. That was how committed folks were. We had down in the Sophie room was our housing room. We called it, there's a word for it, but I can't think of it right now. The war room, thank you. It was the war room, and they just spent all their time to make sure these families would be housed. We had community development, Cambridge Housing Authority, the Red Cross, Metropolitan Boston Housing Partnership, and 16 other state agencies, relief organizations, staffers. Senator Warren sent volunteers from her office to help, Senator Markey, staffers from the office of Representative Clark in Capilano, Attorney General Maura Healey, and our state representatives all leaned in to help us coordinate, collaborate, and expedite the relief process. And out of my office, and that's worth noting, a very good friend of mine who worked for the city of Cambridge for over, I want to say 30 years, had retired and made the mistake of sending me a text message to say, is there anything I can do to help? And I said, sure, why don't you come by tomorrow? And she's been there ever since, so thank you very much, Elaine Thorne. She and Sandra Albano took in, I would say, several hundreds of thousands of checks, mostly corporate, that was giving back to the families to help them put together their lives. One of the things that I'm most proud of is the city's fire relief efforts was the way in which we work so quickly to find housing for those displaced by the disaster. The majority of those who were displaced are living in affordable units, and while I'm incredibly pleased that we're able to find new housing for those people so quickly, the fire placed an even greater strain on our already stressed affordable housing stock. For many years, city leaders have been striving to create policies and practices that promote healthy development and foster the economic health of our city. And while at the same time to prevent Cambridge from becoming a city that only houses the rich and the very poor. This is something that hundreds of cities across America are grappling with and have been grappling with for decades. And there's unfortunately no simple fixes or easy answers. But nonetheless, we must continue striving to find appropriate balance to keep the city economically robust, diverse, and affordable. Of the many forces that shape our communities, perhaps the single greatest issue that's facing us is the availability of affordable housing. Even just as recent as yesterday, my colleagues and I got together in a goal-setting meeting, and the thing that was our top priority was housing. In our biannual survey that we do, citizen survey, the top issue was housing. The local, regional, and national dynamics that have been causing apartment rents and home prices to soar over the past 25 years created a significant challenge in maintaining an adequate level of truly affordable housing. Additionally, we have far too often seen our community conversations over how to best address these challenges deteriorate into bitter disagreements about the wisest path forward. We have seen neighbor pitted against neighbor, and we have seen policy disagreements descend into personal attacks. Unquestionably, whatever path we choose, it will have meaningful ramifications, and these discussions unquestionably rouse people's passions. But we must be mindful of the fact that we will all end up losing if we allow acrimony of our national political discourse to filter down to the local level and poison our municipal decisions. That's not the Cambridge I grew up in. It's not the Cambridge that we want, and that's not the Cambridge that we should accept. This term, the City Council and I have been working hard to build upon our previous affordable housing successes. In 2015, we voted to nearly triple the linkage fees that developers may pay to the Affordable Housing Trust. That will yield millions of dollars of additional funds to go toward our affordable housing in the coming years. The Housing Committee then immediately turned its discussion about the need to increase the amount of affordable housing that must be built by mandate under our inclusionary housing ordinance. Since last April, the Housing Committee has, through numerous public hearings, designed to give us a thorough understanding of what options we have open to us. And last September, we forwarded a recommendation that included increasing the set-aside ratio of affordable units from an effective rate of 11.5% to a rate of 20%. This will effectively double the amount of affordable housing units that will be included in the new developments of over 10 built going forward. Thank you. These changes will by no means be a silver bullet solution that will completely resolve our community's affordable housing crunch. Will nonetheless constitute an important step forward in creating more urgently needed affordable housing units, and shall be a tremendous benefit to many Cambridge families who might otherwise be squeezed out in the years to come. On a related note, I want to address some of the fears and anxieties faced by my friends and my LGBTQ plus community. After being proud and out for many years, many of us are reaching our golden years, are starting to face new and unanticipated concerns around discrimination and intolerance in nursing homes and assisted living by home health aides, and this is becoming increasingly more a part of our lives. And in some cases, LGBTQ plus seniors are actually feeling pressured to go back in the closet. And for anybody that knows, the closets are very dark places. For those people who have, the aftermath of the recent national election has only heightened those fears. Fears that intolerance and discrimination may be on the rise. This is why I have been convening city leaders, housing experts, LGBTQ plus members and leadership from across Cambridge and Greater Boston to discuss the critical need for LGBTQ plus friendly senior housing. A number of these meetings have established a clear need for such housing, and we are now on a path to pursue further, more tangible action toward this goal, and Cambridge has this opportunity to be a true leader in this area. It's important for us to always talk, and the hallmark of my service has always been on citizen engagement. My work around LGBTQ issues, it harkens back to some of my earliest days on the city council, or even my earliest days as an employee of the city, which goes back to February 2nd, 1980, not that I'm counting the days. And it's something that runs through some of my very, very best moments of history, such as in May 2004, when Cambridge was the very first city hall anywhere in the nation to issue same-gender licenses. Who was there then? I see my former colleague Sam Seidel was there, and I see my former colleague Nancy Tarver, who used to sit on the school committee, who was there. And I will also know that former state representative city councilor Tim Toomey, who's here now, was also there holding it down. That was a really important moment for us, not only in Cambridge, but in City Hall. And I think it was through some of your efforts, Ms. Representative Decker, that we have a plaque that recognizes that moment in City Hall. So when you walk across the threshold of City Hall, you remember that here, in this place, we made history. That work has also been typified through the enduring traditions like our periodic LGBTQ plus town hall meetings. These meetings have been an excellent opportunity for us to come and share our thoughts directly with legislative leaders and various department heads. It flips the notion of a public meeting on its head, because these town hall meetings are where we as civic leaders just sit and listen. And I know it's hard to believe that elected officials can sit and listen and not talk. But we do. And we hear back from our community about what's their needs, what their wants are, what's their desires, and what do we need to do more of. This is a proud tradition that will be continuing in full force in 2017. In addition to the next LGBTQ plus town hall meeting, we are formulating plans to throw the doors open to City Hall. Louis, I'll send you a memo. Throw the doors open to City Hall to have discussions on the intersection of race, class, gender, and culture in Cambridge, and to hold a town hall meeting on the aftermath of the 2016 election and focus on tenants' rights in the months ahead. And the idea of the town meetings, again, is an opportunity to hear from you, each of you, citizen or city worker, to tell us what we need to know, what we need to do, and how we all can do it together. In the interest of time, and tonight's discussion of work we've engaged in this term cannot be totally a comprehensive look. But I do want to briefly touch upon the fact that each of my colleagues on the City Council have been working incredibly hard to meet the various challenges in front of us. Our Vice Mayor, for example, Mark McGovern, has been doing incredible work in leading the regional conversations about how to tackle our homelessness problems. Thank you so much, Mark. Councilor Chung, led by his lovely daughter, has been working to increase the efficiency and accountability of our city departments. Our Councilor Kelly, who's been a leading voice in trying to increase the safety of our streets for cyclists, along with Councilor Jan Devereaux, in a very methodical way, and looking at ways to increase neighborhood resiliency. Councilor Marr, who's not with us today because he's ill, as the chair of our Government Operations Committee, was critical in leading the process for helping us find our new city manager. Councilor Carlone, with his background as an urban planner, has been a key and important voice in helping guide and shape our discussions around building an affordable, sustainable, and living city. Councilor Mazin has been tremendous in his work to trying to promote greater community engagement and in urging that we continually look at the issues before us with fresh eyes and with a new sense of enthusiasm. And each councilor in their own way. Councilor Toomey, who has continued to be a prime force behind the Grand Junction Community Path and ensuring that businesses and neighborhoods in the East Cambridge area have a loud and knowledgeable champion. Each of us in our own way, all of us together, come together to work for the benefit for all our citizens in the city. And I believe this council has been doing some truly outstanding work over the last 13 months. Thank you so much, City Council. A moment ago, I mentioned that we will be having a number of town hall meetings in the months ahead. Some of the faces attending as a part of the Cambridge leadership team at these town meetings will be different than we have seen in the past years, for this has been a year of great changes. But 2016 has also seen a new interim police commissioner, a new library director, a new superintendent of schools has joined us in the top cities leadership. The new school superintendent, Dr. Kenneth Sullivan, please stand. And who is not new, but certainly needs to be recognized, is our Deputy Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Carolyn Turk, who's with us tonight. Dr. Salim has been working closely with the CPSD leadership and the school committee to take on the challenges and the opportunities of reshaping our school system to ensure that every child in our school system, regardless of means, regardless of neighborhood or background, is given a solid education and the best possible preparation for a life of success and opportunity. As chair of the school committee, I have launched and been involved in numerous initiatives that are designed to close the ever-persistent achievement gap. And I know people say, and it's true, that the city council works very hard, but I have to tell you, the school committee works a lot harder. All right, Fred, thank you. And to increase the collaboration between the schools and the students and their families, streamlining our programming in such a way that we can all work toward together for greater opportunities for all our students to succeed. Programs like Get in Line, which teaches parents how to navigate the web of support services that are available to their children, how to plug into those programs and increase their chances of academic achievement. Or the Brotherhood program, similar to the Gold program for girls, young men and seeks to provide greater social, emotional, and academic support and to assure that they have higher graduation rates and then go on to college or career and be very successful on the career paths. Community conversations, which will look at the intersection of race, equity, and the achievement and opportunity gaps, and to increase the diversity of the CPSD workforce. The Mayor's Page program, which we just instituted this last Monday, which seeks to cultivate the next generation of civic leaders by having them directly engage in municipal legislative process. And then lastly, the Exiting CRLS program. And Exiting CRLS, what that means is having an opportunity to sit down and talk to as many high school seniors and their parents to find out what their high school experience was like. How could it have better? What changes could we make? And that information will be passed along to the school committee so that we can make these opportunities for the students that come behind them rich and rewarding. Taken together, all these programs and initiatives demonstrate our city's commitment to educational excellence and in making certain that the kids that are coming out of the Cambridge Public Schools are placed on a path of achievement and success. As I stated a moment ago, we have a number of new people in our city's leadership roles in this term. In addition to our new school superintendent, we have our new head of the library, Maria Hudson McCauley. Is she here today? Please stand. Our acting police commissioner, Brent Larrabee. We will soon have a new fire chief, but we must also give acknowledgement to our current chief, Jerry Reardon. I don't know if he's here with us, but thanks, Jerry. And of course, the newest kid on the block, or one of the newer kids of the block, our new city manager, Louis DePasquale. So at this time, I would like to invite our city manager, Mr. DePasquale, to the podium to share his thoughts on the term so far, where we must go, where we have come. And while he has only been in this role for a brief time, he is no stranger to us. He has done a tremendous job from day one. Please join me in welcoming our city manager, Louis DePasquale.
Thank you. I want to start off by saying The mayor, that was 13 months of work. It sounds like 13 years. How about a round of applause for that? Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening. Mayor Simmons, councilors, former city manager Rossi, distinguished guests and fellow residents, and of course, my wife Cheryl. 12 weeks ago, I was sworn in as city manager. Since then, we've had a few very eventful and serious challenges. In a very short time, we have seen the mayor and the city council come together with all city departments, including public safety and human services, to respond to crisis with professionalism and compassion. A strength of this city is the way in which departments, leadership, and the staff collaboratively work with our elected officials to make Cambridge a unique and special place that it is today. There are many department heads and city employees here tonight. And in following Denise's tradition, I'm just going to ask them to please stand up and get recognized. So will they stand up, the department heads and the city employees? They are people that day-to-day outwork to accomplish the policies set by the City Council to provide the day-to-day services to our community. It is because of their efforts in that the city receives high levels of satisfaction to our resident surveys. I appreciate the work that each and every one of you do. And to you, the dedication you show to the people of Cambridge is exceptional. Thank you. As the mayor mentioned, a community collective effort to support the victims of our 10-alarm fire in the Wellington-Harrington neighborhood is a reminder what makes Cambridge an amazing city: a highly professional government and a tightly knit community. The response by the firefighters was unbelievable. Miraculously, there were no serious civilian or public safety injuries. And I want to thank each and every firefighter for a job well done. Thank you. Our highly professional staff, assisted by the state and the Red Cross, was immediately ready to step in. For a city of our size, our capacity to support housing and human resources is beyond compare. Our business community and university leaders are true partners and are always here for us. The financial support that Cambridge residents, business, and people across the country have demonstrated is incredible. The Mayor's Relief Fund has received over $1.2 million. Thank you. But I have to recognize something that I'm incredibly proud of. To date, we have distributed, or in the process of distributing, $932,000 to the impacted households, and we will continue dispersing these funds to all of you. Thank you and congratulations. To the business and university leaders who always step up in time of need, thank you very much for all you do for this city. To our residents, nonprofits, and faith communities who demonstrated an overwhelming outpouring of support to the fire victims, thank you for all you've done during this time. Like any organization, the city is ever evolving. As a city manager, I will look for ways to improve our operations, efficiency, and customer service. And I will seek to build upon many of the initiatives that the city, under the leadership of former city manager Rossi and Healy, has embarked upon and is committed to. We need to ensure that all our department efforts are worked in concert with each other to achieve maximum benefits. We see when our police work with our youth services, when the capital budget planning incorporates sustainable practices, when the planning efforts work across departmental jurisdiction, the right hand must know what the left hand is doing, and we must all work together towards a common and understanding of city goals. I look forward to collaborating with the City Council on goal setting and working with city department heads to make sure that we are working together to achieve council goals. The Healy, Rossi, DePasquale philosophy is marked with fiscal stability and a commitment to providing services that matter to the community. We have all heard about potential cuts in sanctuary cities. I know that the last few months have generated considerable concerns and anxiety for residents, especially members of our immigrant community. I want to be clear. We are a sanctuary city and will continue to support and promote the safety, health, and well-being of all our residents, regardless of immigration status. Thank you. Cambridge remains committed to being a welcoming city for all. As someone who has spent the last 35 years working on maintaining the city's financial stability, I want to give a quick update on our fiscal health and our ability to provide services we've all become accustomed to. For the past 17 years, we have been awarded a AAA bond rating from the three major credit rating agencies. These agencies highlight the city's strong and experienced management team, the healthy financial position, the above-average reserves, and the large and diverse tax base. Two important indicators are the city's strong free cash position, I know a term the mayor doesn't like, but that's how it's referred to, and the debt stabilization fund. This achievement, which is really a team effort between the city council and the administration, allows the city to invest more money in capital projects with a favorable interest rate. Our 2016 bond sale interest rate was 1.8%. What all this means for Cambridge is that we can build new schools, such as the recently completed Martin Luther King Jr. and Putnam Avenue Upper Schools, and the King Open and Cambridge Street Upper Schools and Community Complex project, which is now under construction. Because of our financial position, these schools can be built without state reimbursement and built with a goal of not only creating a better learning environment for our students, but also putting Cambridge on a path towards becoming a net zero community. Building these schools is expensive, but it's the right thing to do. The next school that is scheduled for reconstruction is the Tobin School in West Cambridge. And as we look forward over the next 5 years, the city is projected to spend over $300 million in capital projects, all relating to our AAA bond rating. This type of capital investment to create 21st century learning environment goes hand in hand with our commitment to working with the superintendent of schools and the mayor to ensure that the annual funding recommendation submitted to the City Council for FY18 is the right amount to support all the needs of all our students in the city of Cambridge. I can assure you of that. So I have to be honest. When most people think of finance and budgets, they don't think of civic engagement. We are working to change that. In December, we completed the third participatory budgeting cycle. This community engagement program has resulted in thousands of residents over the age of 12 becoming actively involved. It has fostered civic engagement and community spirit, and is helping to ensure that the city's capital plan reflects the priorities of Cambridge residents and stakeholders. I am proud to say, so far, the Cambridge community has decided how to spend more than $1.8 million on capital projects in the city of Cambridge. And next year, we'll be deciding on an additional $800,000. We are also creating an opportunity for residents directly to purchase City of Cambridge municipal bonds for the first time as part of our 2017 bond sale. This is something that was mentioned to me when Brian Murphy was on the City Council as the finance chair a long time ago. And now we can honestly say we can do this. And this will not only engage residents, but it will make them a financial partner in our infrastructure improvements. The city is fortunate that it can rely upon commercial growth to offset residential tax increases and utilize new growth revenue to raise money outside our levy limit. This provides us a great degree of flexibility to reduce the burden on our residential taxpayers, especially the elderly. Maintaining Cambridge's long-term financial outlook requires careful planning and policy analysis. This year, I'll be working with the city assessor, the city council, and the legislature to explore and recommend potential improvements to our residential and commercial tax system. Kendall Square's economic strength and its international leadership in high-tech and life science research makes Cambridge the envy of cities globally. But we must be mindful that a competition for companies in these sectors is stronger than ever. The Rossi administration worked hard to secure money from a private developer to match city money to keep the Green Line Extension project on track, which can each contributing $12.5 million, totaling $25 million, the first time the city has ever entered in this type of agreement with the MBTA. And I'd like to just say congratulations to Rich on that. Additionally, City Manager Rossi worked with EF, Education First, and DIFCO West to apply for the state IQ funds. While Boston and other communities have successfully accessed these funds, this was a first for Cambridge, and when Cambridge was designated to be eligible for these funds. These funds will provide nearly 25% of the $100 million required to construct the necessary infrastructure of the North Point area. This area will not only take pressure off Kendall Square, but will keep Cambridge competitive advantage and provide growth opportunities for decades. A critical area that we need to succeed in is maintaining the diversity of Cambridge. This can be accomplished through a variety of ways. Supporting affordable housing is one key strategy that can help achieve this goal. Through FY17, and I do like numbers, so I'm going to give you a few, the city has appropriated a total of $134 million in the Community Preservation Act funds for affordable housing initiatives. Since FY05, the city has created 1,257 units of affordable housing and preserved an additional 1,139 affordable units throughout Cambridge. We will do all that we can to create and preserve affordable housing options in our city and to best leverage the Cambridge Affordable Housing Trust. In fact, according to the statewide CPA stats say 15% of the affordable units funded by CPA funds in all of Massachusetts are located right here in Cambridge. The city recently took by eminent domain the blighted property of Vail Court, and the city is exploring new and redevelopment of this property, including building a new affordable housing. And I want to thank again Rich Rossi for making this project possible. Rich? We also need to work to ensure that expiring use affordable units are not lost to market rate pressure. And we will look for ways in which we can bring online new units through our local ordinance. We need to continue the partnership with the Cambridge Housing Authority to invest in and protect our public housing stock, as well as to protect expiring use privately owned affordable buildings. No city in the Commonwealth is committed to affordable housing as Cambridge is. Approximately 15% of our total housing stock is affordable housing subject to long-term deed restrictions. And that's something we all should be very, very proud of. The city's long-standing commitment to funding our affordable housing units and the use of other strategies to advance our housing goals has helped thousands of residents with some amazing results. Much has been accomplished, but there is more to do. I am personally committed to make sure that our neighborhoods, schools, and city workforce are diverse. We will benefit from making sure diversity is a common goal. To help us move closer to achieving our housing goal, I am proud to announce that I will be including in my first budget submission to the City Council an allocation of general fund money to support additional affordable housing efforts. This will mark the first time since the acceptance of the Community Preservation Act that a city manager's budget submission seeks to allocate funds for affordable housing directly through the city capital budget from a dedicated general fund revenue source. Tonight, I also want to highlight for you a number of key challenges that we have been working on this fiscal year. These challenges will require leadership and, in some cases, compromise. First, I asked the City Council to ordain the new inclusionary affordable housing petition. Our current ordinance has been highly successful, but now we have a chance to make it even stronger. I fully support and believe in the petition now before the City Council, which will increase inclusionary housing set aside to a net 20% of new units built and create even more inclusionary units, including more larger units that will be more affordable for families. In March, Cambridge joined communities from across the U.S. to commit to the Vision Zero policy. This important initiative calls for the elimination of fatalities and serious injuries resulting from traffic crashes and emphasizes that can and should be prevented. We are in the middle of the departmental team actively working on a draft action plan, and I am in the process of appointing a Vision Zero advisory committee. And the city has already begun pilot initiatives, such as the several demonstration-separated bike lanes, and we will be implementing additional larger demonstrations of separated bike lanes beginning in the spring of 2017. And due to the efforts of the Cambridge City Council, we have lowered the city's default speed to 25 miles an hour. These Vision Zero efforts dovetail nicely with the city's Complete Streets approach to mobility that has been in place for years. As we plan and design for the future, we will continue to make it safe and easy for people of all ages and abilities to travel between work, school, shops, and other destinations, whether they choose to walk, bicycle, drive, or take transit. Balancing these needs will require leadership, compromise, trade-offs, and understanding, but we can and will get there. The city must complete the Envision Cambridge process. Planning of our future is an area that requires leadership and compromise. As we look to shape our neighborhoods, we have to strike balance of uses and respect not only neighborhoods, but recognize the importance of vibrant commercial and retail sectors. I believe we can achieve this. There is another lingering challenge on how to best use the Foundry building for community use. Every councilor is committed to this, and I am too. I pledge to work with all of you to make this happen, and will explore every opportunity possible to provide the best opportunity we can for the Foundry site. As the Volpe site process enters a new phase, I am committed to a process that will result in a zoning agreement that will much better use of the land. This can only be accomplished if all the stakeholders work together to achieve a mutual beneficial outcome. This fall, the city also began implementation of a new pay-by-phone program that allows people to easily pay at meters at parking spaces. Maybe long overdue, but we got there. This program will be fully rolled out, hopefully, by the end of the year. And I want to just recognize everybody for all their hard work on this, but especially the traffic department, and thank them. For the past year, North Cambridge residents on Monday pickup route have been provided curbside organic pickup services. The material collected through this program is used to generate electricity and produce compost. As we look to 18 and beyond, we are analyzing the possibility of extending this program city-wide. Our police and fire emergency services are second to none. And I want to pause to just say thank you to the men and women in public safety positions all around the world, but especially in the city of Cambridge. To all the youth watching this, and there's probably not many, so hopefully parents can tell them. I ask you to think about your future, and I hope you will consider a career in one of our public safety agencies. I think it's a great place to really start looking at making sure that Cambridge people have opportunities in public safety, and we will do everything we can to help you with that. So please listen and take that very seriously. Our police commissioner is one of the most important positions in the city. And I am having a hiring process that is transparent and open to the public. I accept our new commissioner to ensure that our police department remains invested in the community, shares our commitment to addressing the quality of life in the city and our sense of safety and well-being. I believe the next police commissioner should play an integral part in solving community problems, building trust within all segments of the community, and demonstrating what 21st century policing in America should look like. In 2014, former city manager Rich, we got a lot of Riches in here tonight, but he was 9 months of manager, so that's what happens, appointed an early childhood task force, which I am proud to have been a member of the task force. The task force recommended a multi-year effort to build early childhood system that will improve outcomes for Cambridge children from birth to 3rd grade. The city's FY17 budget includes $1.3 million to begin implementing those recommendations. As we look to 18, the city will continue to support the funding of this very important initiative. In addition to early childhood education, the city is expanding how it supports students at all grades. Given the importance of science, technology, engineering, arts and math, STEAM, in the local and regional economies, the city STEAM coordinator is dedicated to supporting a network of learning opportunities that expose students to STEAM. As I have committed to ensuring that the city workforce remains diverse and reflects our community, currently we are in the process of hiring a director of equity and inclusion. We recently issued a request for proposal for development and delivery of a sexual orientation and gender identity training program that will be attended by all city employees. These two examples follow on the heels of Cambridge Leadership Initiative, a leadership and cultural competency training program that was delivered to city leaders and managers this past year. Our commitment to equity and inclusion complements the work the mayor is conducting on women's pay equity in the workplace. Finally, to all faith leaders, nonprofit leaders, and volunteers who make our community so amazing, thank you. You are a critical partner in the city's mission. You're not just our neighbor, you truly are our partner. To all of you who support local nonprofits, thank you. I am so pleased that we have been able to create a mechanism which will allow us to allocate money negotiated through zoning to Cambridge nonprofits based on process starting in the upcoming budget. Before I close, I want to invite the public to consider becoming part of the new City Manager's Advisory Committee. The deadline to apply is February 17th. This group will meet quarterly and will help us address critical challenges we face as a city. As a lifelong Cambridge resident, I believe that one of my strengths is being connected to the pulse of the city. But I want to make sure I stay connected. Tough issues require sacrifice and compromise. We need residents to weigh in on the decision-making process. This advisory committee will provide them this opportunity. To the City Council, I cannot thank you enough for placing your trust and confidence in me and providing me this opportunity. Each of you tirelessly work to make Cambridge a better community. To Lisa Peterson, my staff, and all city employees, thank you for all you do for this city. And finally, to Mayor Simmons, you have shown incredible leadership and support to not only the residents of Cambridge, but also to me. I want to thank you for all that you do for Cambridge. Mayor Simmons. Mayor Simmons, thank you for asking me to participate in the first ever joint State of the City address. With that, I say good night, and I will turn it back to Mayor Simmons, which I'm sure will be some very brief closing comments. Mayor Simmons, thank you.
I got that message. Yeah, a former colleague of mine once said to me, and I always try to remember it, Jim Rafferty says, good remarks are short, but great remarks are shorter. And so I'm going to try to do that. You've seen strong policies coupled with great and deliberate sound practices, and that marriage together of policy and practices is what makes this great city the place that it is and the envy of cities across the country. And it's really a pleasure to be serving in the city and serving my colleagues in serving the citizens in Cambridge. So, to be brief, as I said at the top of my remarks, we are only in a few weeks in, but it's already clear that 2017 is unlike any time in recent memory. No city exists in a vacuum, and the passionate debates that have been playing out on the national stage over the past year have unquestionably reverberated at times significantly in the city of Cambridge. Even in just the past few days, the president has issued that executive order that tarnishes some of the very pillars of this nation, creating religion-based immigration bans and threatening to punish proud sanctuary cities like Cambridge. The lines between yesterday and today have really been so stark or so fraught. In the short time this new administration has been in office, it already feels like all of what we cherish in our country is being systematically attacked from within. For communities like Cambridge, there is a genuine concern about what our path is going to be looking like heading down. And that is why now more than ever, we must hold fast to ideas and our ideals of tolerance and inclusiveness. This will be on full display this Monday night at 4:30, that's Monday coming, when we gather on the City Hall stairs for our unity rally that promotes our proud diversity and our commitment to remaining a sanctuary city. All are welcome to participate in this rally, and it is important that we recognize that cities like ours can and should set an example to push back against hateful, extremist national policies, whatever, however, and whenever we can. No one, not even the President of the United States, is going to bully Cambridge into sacrificing who we are. We will work as a council, we will work with our city solicitor, we will work with the Attorney General, we will work with our congressional representatives, we will work with our state delegation so that to ensure that we maintain our sister city status and to ensure that people all over the world understand that is not allowed in Cambridge is bigotry. By refusing to give in to negativity and divisiveness, we can send a powerful message to the people across this country. And we must also continually put into practice these qualities we demand of our national leaders by always treating one another with civility. We must look into that amazing Cambridge spirit exhibited in the hours, days, and following the December 3rd fire and replicate it over and over and over. We have to all be ambassadors of goodwill. It is going to be something each of us must continually recommit to, because Cambridge we understand that extremism, intolerance, and absolutism can never be the answer. So as I stand down, I want to thank each of you and all of you for coming out and coming together and being here for our State of the City address. And I hope, Mr. DePasquale, you will keep this practice going. We will never be able to cover every policy practice and thing that we do here in Cambridge. This is just a snapshot of that. But we could spend hours. Would you like to? Okay. We could spend hours on these important topics and many others, and I ensure that the City Council will continue to hold these critical discussions in our subcommittees, in this room, in the community in months ahead. All of us, the City Council, the City Manager, and I are committed to taking on these challenges as best we can. I am fortunate to serve with all of these hard-working individuals, devoted public servants, and in this new national political climate, we do and must do everything on the municipal level to take on the righteousness and justice for all with greater intensity. This is going to require a community-wide level of heightened engagement, involvement, and discourse. It's going to require that we continue to look after one another as good neighbors and caring citizens. It's going to require that each of us remember that even as we disagree on tactics and rhetoric, we must never lose sight of the fact that we are so deeply fortunate to be living in a community that values tolerance, understanding, respects, and civility. No more than ever, these qualities are what we could use a lot more of. Now, more than ever, these qualities are something that's going to have to sustain us and maintain us and have us go forward. I just want to give special thanks to people that made tonight possible: our DPW, the Office of the City Council through Sandra Albano, our Reverend Monroe, thank you so much. Amber and Brent, thank you for that musical rendition. The staff of the mayor's office, because I know you think I did this all myself, but it was through Neil Alpert, Muna Kangson, Teresa Stevens, Tony Clark, Jeff Walker, and Elaine Thorne. It's all their hard work that makes this all possible. I thank each of them and all of you for coming. So let me close. I'm not ready, but I've got more to say. We are in the middle of Black History Month, so let me close with a quote by Martin Luther King Jr., and it says, "It really boils down to this, that all life is interrelated. We are all caught in an inescapable bond or network of mutuality, tied into a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one's destiny affects all indirectly. So it is up to us. As the King said, we could either live together, die together as fools, or live together as brothers and sisters. Let us stand and stand together. Thank you. If you please, there are cards saying the city I want to see. If you can fill those out and leave them at the door, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Is she singing? Is anybody singing? Are they singing tomorrow?
Closing song.
Brett?